Hi everybody. Things may be a little bit off for the next few days with my live streams and my videos. I will pop a little clip in here as to why, but today one of my cats gave birth to her kittens. Unfortunately, the first one didn't make it, but we have two little kittens in the house. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. That's why the Wellbeing Wednesday video is an old video that sort of fitted the theme. I may have made it one time previously when I was using the similar themes to make videos. Today's Throwback Thursday video is, I feel a little relevant because of some of the news stories that I've seen bobbing around today. It is actually all about facing fears and ways to repattern the stories from our past. Well, almost jump timelines, if you want to go out there with that one. Change our reality, rewrite stories from the past to create new stories in the now. And it's my own experience from something that happened in 2020 when they began to mandate masks for the old 2020 situation. And yeah, I've seen a few news stories today that feel maybe there's a little bit of fear stories being put back into the collective consciousness. And if these fear stories bring up stories from your past, my experience with this may help you to rewrite some stories of your own. I'm planning on editing this video because it is a long video, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it was a powerful experience for myself, which is still, I still feel the rewrite, the history rewrite. I've never gone back to feeling like I used to in relation to this. You'll see when you watch the video what it's about. I'm not spoiling, but except to say, yeah, it was connected to mask mandates and my own childhood experiences that made the whole mask stuff a little worrying for me too. I was lucky that we live in the UK where mask mandates were a little bit more laid back than they were in other countries. How I'd have fared in another country, I don't know. I'd like to actually think that I still would never have worn one because I believe in my body and because I believe that a lot of what we're told about medical systems is actually a load of baloney, and it creates this fear in people that everything around us is dangerous and contagious, whilst we also have masses of chemicals in our homes all the time, toxins in our paint and in our furniture and in our clothing even. Bluetooth disconnected. Excuse my laptop switching down. And yeah, it seems relevant because I've seen a few news stories today that appear to be pushing certain narratives, fear ones. I'm not putting them out there because fortunately when I read the comments on these posts these days, it's all like people know not to fall for the same stories again. But if you're concerned and you'd like an example of how to rewrite an old story from your past to create a different version of you now, and you want to go there, and you want a quantum leap and timeline jump, then watch this. And if you'd like some support and guidance and help with that, then you can book a session on my website, on my booking link, which will be down in the description, and let me know what you think of this. I don't know if I mentioned it in the video, but I used Dr. Joe Dispenza meditation to do the process, and I really feel, even now, what are we, 5 years on from then? It's almost 5 years ago, actually, isn't it, that they began to push the mask mandates here. I think we started with them in July of 2020. Yeah, and I will put a little sneak peek here of my 2 little kittens and the mama, who are in a box on my bed, because that's when she decided she was going to have them. And yeah, send me lots of good wishes that these 2 make it through. And I will see you all again in another video very soon. Hello, happy Friday. So how is 2020 treating you? What a week, what a month, what a year. It just gets more and more interesting, more and more confusing. That's one that comes up quite a lot. Distressing for many. I know many people are finding the whole confusion and not even know what the fuck is going on, or anything like that, finding it really, really challenging. How are things going? This week has been I come on, I haven't been on live for ages, and then I come on and do a live stream because something is like that. This is the worst week of the year, and it's been a significant week this week for me, because it has it's brought some stuff up for me from my past, from my healing journey that I've been on for the last 12 months. It's brought up a lot of stuff, and I wanted to share because it's actually been one of the most profound healing experiences of the last 12 months. And I thought some of the stuff I went through last year was quite profound, and I thought some of the realizations that I've had over the course of the last 12 months had been quite profound. But this tops them all, because I feel like I've literally rewritten a significant part of my past, which causes an immense amount of trauma in my present, or an immense amount of anxiety in my present. And I'm so much more confident from my own experience in what I put out there and what I'm sharing and what I'm trying to bring to the world, to you, to anyone who's watching this. And I could have wrote several posts about it. I've already written 2 posts about it. I could have continued sharing it in posts, but I want a video to put on Instagram, to put on IGTV, not Instagram and IGTV are the same thing, on YouTube and on IGTV, to share what I've been through, and also consequently what I'm offering to people, specifically around some of what I'm going to talk about, but also if you've got something else that you want to help with healing over, traumas from the past, or anything that is causing you significant problems, anything that doesn't have to be even traumatic. It can just be something that constantly comes up for you in your life that stops you from moving into any sort of real happiness or freedom or anything like that. And then what I did, and it's all a part of a process, and I still truly believe that each and every one of us has everything that we need inside of us. This comes up for me time and time again when I automatically do something and then I'm like, yeah, I've done this in the past to help me cope with something. But we get so caught up in the life now and in our past. A significant portion of the way that we live now is held up in our past. We repeat patterns because of the past. We live our life the way that we interact with other people because of past experiences, and we hold ourselves back because of things, the way that situations have gone in the past. Well, I'm not going to go and step out into this thing that I've really kind of fancied doing, because when I did anything that was out of the ordinary in the past, it failed. But you're a different person now, and so it doesn't mean that it's going to fail. But if you go into it thinking you're going to fail, the chances are something will go wrong, and you go, oh, well, I shouldn't have gone and done it anyway. So living our life, shedding the past, letting go of the past, letting go of situations, memories, things that have gone on, is significant in how you get to live your best life now and plan your future based on now, and not planning your future on the past, because that's why we hold ourselves back. So this is a little bit of history for me, for you, about me. I was brought up in a strict religious Christian household. I do occasionally define it as a cult, because getting away from it, there's a bit of psychological draw to staying in, because if you leave, you can lose everybody and everything that you've ever had in your life if you leave, especially if you were brought up in that sort of religious dynamic. And I know this isn't just this one particular religion. Other people have the same issues when they leave other religions. I was a wild child. I was very strong-willed. It's part of what I'm learning is now my human design. That's another modality that I'm playing around with. I was a wild child. I was I knew what I wanted, knew very clearly what I wanted. And because of showing my mum up and being an embarrassment, being louder than she really wanted to be, I was nothing like her other children. One of this most 1977 was when I was born. One of the things most likely to be done in relation to disciplining children back in the 70s, 80s, earlier, was physical punishment. So I was physically punished regularly, smacked. Nothing worse. I'm very, very grateful that my mum would never have done anything worse than just give me a good hiding with a hand. And at our religious gatherings, I was regularly taken from those to be given a good hiding, because I was not sitting still, I was not paying attention, I didn't want to sit still. Knowing what I know now, energetically I probably didn't like being there, and so I'd be taken out. And because I was disruptive, loud, don't smack me mummy, don't smack me mummy, and being taken out, I would get a hand firmly clamped over my mouth to stop me screaming. And I don't know if you've ever experienced that, and trigger warning, there may be things I describe in this that bring up memories for you. I sincerely hope that you can cope with this, because the lessons that I've learned through this have been amazing. So but if you are triggered too much, please don't carry on watching. If you can't cope, then please don't put yourself through any anxiety or upset yourself. Of course you can reach out, or you can carry on watching to book an appointment with me, or you can, through my acuity scheduling, you can book a 15-minute, 20-minute chat so that we can talk and I can help undo any damage that is caused by any triggers. But yeah, so if you've ever experienced, particularly as a young child, having a hand clamped over your mouth and having that done on a regular basis, we went to the religious meetings 2-3 times a week, so it would happen, I would say, at least once a week. I don't know, they were memories, they were very vague memories, and who actually knows, but those memories are very strong and have played a significant part in a lot of how I've behaved as I've grown up. But yeah, if you've ever experienced having an adult hand, as a small child, having an adult hand clamped over your mouth, it's not good, especially if you're screaming at the time or crying at the time and that is being tried to stop. They'll usually be like holding as well, carrying you. There's lots of pressure, and it's an experience. It's an experience that I couldn't even think about, let alone write about or talk about this week, at the start of this week, without feeling my heart start to race, getting extremely short of breath, not being able to breathe properly. And there were tears. Let's just say there were tears. I know for other people, I've been in various discussions this week around the situations that are coming up for many people in many various parts of the world in relation to mask wearing at the moment. Our past trauma and past experiences can be affecting our life now in ways that we don't even imagine. So I've been listening to conversations, reading conversations with people around this idea of having their mouth and nose covered. And the same thing was coming up with people that was affecting me. It's not something I like, don't like my kids do it, wouldn't let a partner do it, just can't cope with it. It brings up memories. A lot of it, I suspect, maybe some people were associating with similar experiences to me as a child, having a hand clamped over your mouth to shut you up. But I also suspect some people weren't realising that maybe had happened as a child, and that was what the effect was, because these things that happen to us, we don't necessarily remember them as actual events. We just know we don't like that, and it's only when we sit with it and because we don't like something, we tend to don't like that, we shut it away, to get it away. I don't like the way that's making me feel. I'm not even going to think about it. And it's only by sitting with it for a few minutes and going, so what is the trigger around this? What is it? Why don't I like it? And then it might not be a parent, it might be something else, it might be worse than just being held to be quiet, to be taken somewhere else to be disciplined, even worse. But these memories are held in our body, they're held in our cells, they're held in our body, and we hold on to them. And when other things come up for us as adults that we may not even associate with that thing, then we get triggered into reactions that we don't understand, triggered into anger, triggered into fear, triggered into anxiety. Lots of people were describing this anxiety feeling. And then if you've got anxiety, certainly here in the UK, you can say, I get anxious when I'm wearing one, I can't wear one. But if you have anxiety, having to explain to somebody why you're not wearing a mask is in itself anxiety inducing. And that was something coming up for me. It was, I don't want to have to go. And that in itself, with that total reason why I'm exempt from wearing one, then stirs up anxiety. I don't like confrontation. I don't want to have to explain my medical life to anybody who I come across. And then there's the other side of things, if you've scrolled social media, if you are not choosing to wear a mask at the moment, if you scroll social media, there is the posts of, if you're not wearing a mask, you're selfish, you're killing people. We go back to that again, and the whole shaming. And if you are choosing not to wear a mask because it causes you anxiety, reading posts like that, again, more anxiety. So I couldn't not deal with this, because I'm not sure. Will I go in any shops in the next few weeks? Don't know. Depends how long it's going to last. Do we even know? Having the tools that I have, knowing that I need to sort this out, because I can't handle this. I can't handle the things that it's bringing up for me. I spent a good hour or so here in my office reading about it, feeling it, hating it. No. But aside from that, there was just I can't do it. So I sat here in my office, and I have a more in-depth process that I do, that I use tapping around, where I allow all the feelings in. I allow the anxiety, the anger at my mum, because obviously it was my mum that was silencing me. The fact that it's only 2 years since she died last week. The anger at the whole that we've been put through this in the first place. everything, all of it. I just was like, I needed to allow it to be felt. And so here, quietly in my office with the kids screaming around, we were getting ready to go out, and they were mithering me about going out, and I was like, I need to just do this. Let me just do this. So I took myself, sat here facing the window that's coming behind me, and just allowed it to all come up, allowed it to be felt, to name all the emotions, to express all those emotions, to express how I felt to myself, whilst tapping on the side of my hand, as we do in EFT. When we start up, we go, even though I'm feeling all these feelings about this situation, I am safe here in my office right now, and that I choose to love and accept all of it, taking it all on board. I love and accept everything about me now, because if it hadn't happened, would I even be the person that I am? And allow myself to feel it all. Gonna get a little bit woo now because this whole process that I use in conjunction with my EFT involves me acknowledging my infinite potential as part of the universe. So as we are created from star stuff, for want of a better expression, we have all the elements of the earth within us. We are part of the universe, which means that we have the power, the infinite potential of the universe, literally in the palm of our hands. So this part of the process that I move into next involves me calling back my power from the divine, from the power that created all things, back into myself, so that I can then better focus on ways that I can get through it. So we already know I'm exempt anyway, but what are other ways that we can get through it? If you don't have an exemption and feel that you don't want to stand up in other ways and say, I refuse to wear a mask because I don't think it's benefiting me and I don't think it's protecting other people. But there's other ways that we can deal with it. There's other things that we can do together. If you're feeling anxious about the whole process, then wearing one is going to be such a struggle anyway. But so you then allow yourself to feel that it's all part of the story that you're living. If we talk about being in a really woo, living in the matrix, being part of a holographic universe, there are terms that are way out there, that you're making this up as you go along, that sometimes I've talked about this with a few people last week, that when you read the news or look at what's being given to you via any screen, any news, any newspaper, there's a particular way that they want us to think and want us to believe. And then when you go out in the street, and like, I live in a busy town, and there's nothing. There's like, people are going in the shops, people are, well, last week anyway, this next week we'll see. But there's a difference in what is being fed to you, and what you experience when you go out there. And we come back to that, what do you know right now? What do you know right now in this moment? What do you know? Then, so you know that you're safe here in this moment, and then you call back your power, and you by working through the tapping points. As I do this, I clear the energy channels through my body, which brings me into more of a state of neutrality. It calms my nervous system and my emotions down, and eases the anxiety. And this is the key and significant part. If you're going to be anxious wearing a mask, you're going to make the effects of wearing it more impactful on your body. So I did this EFT through this process of working this out, and felt an immediate, immense sense of relief. But that wasn't the end of it, and this is the significant part. That's not the end of it. You then have to run through the scenario again. Well, if I put a mask on now, how do I feel? Do I still feel terrified, anxious, whatever? And I didn't feel as bad. Then I went to the shop, took the kids to the shop, and then I came home to do a meditation. Well, I had lunch and did other stuff, but then I come home and did a meditation. I do a Dr. Joe Dispenza meditation. And part of that has me like consider potential possibilities. And one of the things that I'm working on at the moment is in relation to my parents. And it's in relation to kind of rewriting my story of the past, because to do that, more quantum stuff, more woo stuff, but the idea that you can reparent yourself, that you can take yourself back to that small child that was in a situation it didn't like. It doesn't have to be with parents, it could be any sort of situation. It could be school, it could be bullies, it could be other icky childhood things that happen. You take yourself back to that child and be with that child to help it through. And you can do one of two things. You can be there for that child, to hold that child despite the experience, or you can totally say, well, that experience, this is what happened instead. So for me, I took myself back to, I'm working on actually rewriting the fact that I was even brought up in this religious experience. But for me, in that situation at that moment, it was that's not what my mum did to me. My mum didn't clamp her hand over my mouth to silence me. Instead, emotions come. Instead, she would hug me. That's what I work on with my children, is when they're expressing emotions, when they're being themselves, when they're doing the things that really, really wind me up, I hug them and I hold them, because that's what they need. That is what children need who are displaying emotions. They need to learn to handle them in a non-judged way, in an unconditional way, so that they can feel them and process them and move on to something else. And if you watch kids do this, they can throw an emotion. If you're not in a place where you get angry at it and you get agitated by it, this emotions switch just like that. They can change from like 1 minute to the next in how they're feeling. And you were like screaming on the floor a minute ago. Why are you now like happy? And it's because they're not weighed down by their emotion, not weighed down by the heavy emotions. They feel them and they move on. And to be able to do that as adults is it's empowering. It's an experience to achieve. So this is what I did in my meditation. I literally took myself back to being the child and watch my mum, rather than clamp a hand over my mouth, hug me. And then I just knew the relief in my body was just immense, and that was it. It was done. It was healed. And I was like, could it really be that easy? Could it really have just switched? I mean, well, not easy, but could it really be gone? Something that has been with me for my whole life, 2-3 year old, something that's been with me for so long, could it really be gone? So I kind of like pushed some buttons yesterday, got involved in a little 1 or 2 discussions, and was able to come at them from a place of, I'm not triggered by my own anxiety over this situation. I'm wanting to support people through this as much as I possibly can, because to then actually go, well, actually, if I have to just go and put a scarf over my face to get on the train without hassle, I can do that. I've got things that I can do that with. And to actually think, oh, actually I could, and then see some of these masks that are being shown that are like have a positive energy, that has the potential to really make it an experience that doesn't cause you the anxiety that will affect your health. So what I want to offer
support and help. There's I offer so many things. I've created a specific link on my Acuity scheduling, which I've just dropped in the comment now on my Acuity scheduling calendar. I've created a specific appointment type for an hour what have I called it? A multi-therapy healing session, 1 hour, EFT, aromatherapy and crystals, because I offer so much more than EFT. I offer crystal therapies and aromatherapy, and if you had the whole shebang going on, if you had some crystals that help to calm you down, calm your nervous system, if you had I can even make crystal elixirs and stuff as well, if you really want to go out there. They work a bit like homeopathy, so they take the energy of the crystal, and so if you believe in homeopathy, then crystal essences work really well as well. And I wanted to come and do this here so I didn't then go over to my group and spend the whole time talking in my group because I was so overwhelmed by the way that this worked for me this week, and I wanted to make sure that I shared it and then get this video up, download this video so I can use it elsewhere. Right, I'm going to go and grab myself a drink. Thank you for joining me, and anything, if you're watching on the replay, hashtag replay, and dropping anything that has resonated with you or anything that comes up for you around this, and I will catch you all over in the Facebook group. I'll see you soon. Bye. Post-editing the Throwback Thursday video, me here, to just say, as I watched that through as I was editing it, where I share the story of the rewriting of my childhood trauma. When I think back, it made me quite emotional listening to it, because now we're 5 years on from that experience, and I can safely say that when I think back to my childhood experiences of the religious meetings I talk about, I almost feel like I don't have memories of what I used to. I have memories of what I rewrote, and it's actually making me think about going back and revisiting the meditation that I used to use then, and used for a long time. Actually, I used it from 2020 right up until last year. I've got quite a collection of Dr. Joe Dispenza meditations now, and that was my first, the one that I mentioned, and it was still my favourite when I used to do them last year, and I'm been kind of feeling the pull to go back to trying them again, but my schedule's a little bit more packed now than it was then. And I'm not sure when I want to do them. I don't want to get up at the crack of dawn like I used to and do them, but I'm thinking that I think particularly that one with the going back to other parts of that I mentioned in that video, I think I'd like to go back and do more rewriting of my old stories. So where I mentioned the support session that I mentioned, if that's still in there, I still offer a multidisciplinary healing session. I actually offer 2 or 3 different types now. They're all on my Acuity link, which you will find down in the description. And if you want to discuss any of your situation with me prior to that, you can indeed book a Let's Have a Cuppa free 20-minute session to talk about your situation. Thanks for watching, and I'd love to know your thoughts on this video, as I mentioned, in the edited version, and please do like, comment and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye.